We believe it's not a shift. We believe it's an expansion of IPs. We basically decentralize the authority to issue the items within the game. We are trying to expand the IP by redefining how people enjoy a game. We believe there is a great shift in how people perceive entertainment. Even in the gaming industry, just like smartphones opened up a whole new market of casual gaming, idle gaming, just like Twitch opened up a whole new market of people watching other people playing certain games. There should be more than one way of playing the games. We are basically creating a foundation where different kinds of people enjoy the game in their own way.
Hello PlayToEarn family, we're back with the last episode of Season 1 at Crypto Game Changers, the only show where we interview builders and founders and learn a little bit more about their projects and their journeys. And for this last episode, we have a very special project. This is an IP that has stood the test of time for over 2 decades. It's a 21-year-old IP. They have generated 5 billion in lifetime revenue and currently have 250 million players worldwide. And they've very recently ventured into Web3. I'm talking about none other than MapleStory. And for the guest today, we have their chief business officer who's leading the charge at their Web3 wing called MapleStory Universe. Let me introduce you to Dominic Jang. Dominic, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having us, having me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's get into it. So before we talk about MapleStory, I would love to know more about your background and how you ended up as the chief business officer at MapleStory Universe.
Sure. I started my career as an investment banker based in Tokyo. So I was mostly dealing with large corporations, pitching M&A ideas, fundraising ideas for slightly over 10 years. And then I shifted my career to Web3. Before joining MapleStory Universe team, I was head of BD at one of the gaming layer one called Oasis. From there, I was very much fascinated by how, in business, games were integrating blockchain technologies. And that's also where I built my very first relationship with MapleStory Universe team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lucky enough to be offered a position here as chief business officer. So yeah, here I am.
Awesome. No, that is a very interesting journey from investment banking to gaming. So about MapleStory, I know that it is a large Web2 IP. They've been around for 2 decades now, but I want to know, for those unaware, I want the audience to know more about the transition that MapleStory has taken with Web3 and why it has gone through that journey. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Actually, to tell you a little bit more about how our project started in the very much beginning. Nexon grew for over slightly over 30 years now, based on inviting the very business model of free to play. And since then, we were very much pioneer of that very business model, and we have grown with a tremendous speed. For a long time. But then in the minds of top management of Nexon growth, there was a very big concern that free-to-play business model is also not sustainable. It's not going to guarantee the next 30 years, next 50 years of Nexon. So, um, Nexon team has been, studying and, analyzing very different models of economy in order to revisit the business model and come up with a more innovative and new business model that will guarantee the next, 30 years of Nexon. And somehow we figured out that blockchain could be a hint for our business model, because in the previous business model, where game companies constantly update, and every time they update, they sell the items to recoup the development budget for the new update. And the more you sell, the more revenue you are going to be creating as a game business. However, that could be only possible with the sacrifice of the existing assets that you sold previously to the users. Meaning, with the sacrifice of the money that gamers spent in the past updates, you will, have to keep inflating the power of new items. So our conclusion was that this should be taken care of immediately, and we have come up with a business with a new economic model that limits the number of items, and that limits the issuance authority from the game companies. So we somehow protocolized the game item issuance, and even made it in a way that even us as a game company should pay to issue items, and also at the same time anyone can pay to issue the items. Of course, the items are fixed and predetermined. That's in line with the MapleStory IP policies, right? So we basically decentralized the authority to issue the items within the game. And in that way, we believe that the value of items will be maintained much better than the existing business MMORPG business models.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I can see that you guys have thought deeply about this transition, and we'll get more into that. But I also want to first understand the community side of it, because it is a large Web2 IP, and we always, there's a statistic like 250 million players worldwide. How do you think those players are going to transition into Web3? Do you think that they're going to adopt, I would say, support this transition? Because in my experience, in the early days in 2021, 2020, a lot of gamers were anti-crypto gaming. But I would love to know more from you, because you guys made the jump to Web3. And so how are you guys approaching this from a community perspective?
Right. When it comes to the development of MapleStory Universe, which is the new game using the same IP, we believe it's not a shift. We believe it's an expansion of IPs. We are not forcing the existing players who are playing now to come to our game. However, there are lots of gamers who once left the game and have nostalgia of growing up playing MapleStory in their childhood, getting backslapped from their mothers for spending so much money on the item, etc. So we are basically looking into the audience who know MapleStory, but not necessarily playing the existing MapleStory at the same time. And also, we are trying to expand the IP, the value of IP, by redefining how people enjoy a game. We believe there is a great shift in how people perceive entertainment. Even in the gaming industry, just like smartphones opened up the whole new market of casual gaming, idle gaming. Just like Twitch opened up the whole new market of people watching other people playing certain games. There should be more than one way of playing the games, and we believe we want to deliver the ecosystem where of course, passionate gamers will be playing their games. There will be content creators who will be streaming their gameplay. And even developers and other kinds of creators come up with a very creative ideas using our IP. And even traders and investors have their roles in our ecosystem. So we are basically creating a foundation where different kinds of people enjoy the game in their own way. Yeah.
Interesting. So I understand that you mentioned it's an expansion and not a shift. By yeah, by making that statement, we assume that the Web2 MapleStory ecosystem is going to be ongoing as well, and the MapleStory Universe, that's the Web3 arc, is going to be parallelly moving forward as well. And we don't expect, I mean, we hope that some of them might experiment with both ends, but we don't entirely expect the entire Web2 user base to move on to MapleStory Universe. So
Exactly.
and
Sorry.
no, go ahead,
I
go ahead.
receive a lot of questions regarding cannibalization with the existing um, contents. But I truly believe, and also our Nexon's directors and top management also believe this is not the cannibalization. This is the expansion of IPs, and we are basically inviting new layers of audiences who know and will start loving the MapleStory IP.
Awesome. And so, can you give us some stark differences between MapleStory Universe and the Web2 gaming IP? What can players do more within MapleStory Universe?
Right. I think the core difference could be two things. Those two things are also interconnected, but one is, as I mentioned, a limited number of NFT items. Basically, from day one, there will be fixed number of items in the item pool, and people will be able to bring those gaming assets by depositing NXPC token, our token, back to life. And that also applies to us. We'll be depositing NXPC token to bring the items from the item pools and place it in our games, right? And any developer who are participating in our ecosystem should be able to do that as long as they have the token. So those NFT assets are limited in number, and they can only be issued or come to life by depositing the NXTC token. And second is that, sorry, they because of that kind of features, and because we are using the blockchain technologies, users will have the true ownership of those items. So this opens up a lot of different doors on how different contents can be created around the IPs. So, like for example, let's say you are an NFT creator, then you can basically target, you can basically play in the NFT marketplace that we also have in place, and buy certain items, and just like a blacksmith, you enhance the items and then sell it in a higher price or something like that. And if you see how higher demand in a certain items going forward, you'll be buying these items and sell it in a higher price in the future or something like that. And also, there could be different usage of different items, because what is different? What is the core the core difference between the traditional existing MapleStory games and MapleStory Universe is that there is a core game like the traditional game, which is MapleStory N. And on top of that, there will be synergy apps like dApps in our ecosystem. And different items will play different roles in different contents. There could be more than just one game. There could be, I mean, I'm just shooting out ideas. But for example, um, like move to earn
Mm-hmm.
contents and certain shoes in the core game MapleStory N could be, you know, meh kind of item,
Mm-hmm.
but that particular item could have, you know, more special features or, you know, make people earn more in the move to earn contents, for example. So it basically gives more value to certain assets, and there could be more ideas like that.
So I think this plays into the current ongoing gaming narrative that is UGC, user generated content. So I imagine that the developers using the IP and building out their own separate modules, would it be correct to say modules or independent games using the IP, would they be able to earn as well?
All right. So our tokenomics indicates significant amount of portion given out to the players who contribute to our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the level of contribution that they're making to the ecosystem, they will be constantly rewarded. Um, we are fine-tuning how we are going to evaluate the level of contribution to different, say, developers, content creators, or even, you know, normal community members.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely there will be rewards that are allocated to different developers, creators, um, even influencers, and, you know, day-to-day players as well.
Got it. Got it. And I imagine all of this is possible through the Synergy apps, correct?
Synergy apps as well as our tokenomics.
Got it. And can
So
you tell?
by integrating blockchain technologies and
Mhm.
bringing, you know, technological layers that allow us, you know, use that allows us to use like NFTs, tokens, etc. It is possible for us to be able to reward those contribution to our ecosystem and make the ecosystem more vibrant in a fair way.
Yep. And that's what we're all about, within the Web2 gaming industry. So, okay, most of the people listening to this might not be aware of what synergy apps are. Could you give us a brief about what is possible? What are synergy apps, and what do they encompass?
Right. Basically, those synergy apps are the, you know, tools and even contents or platform where people can, you know, play around and also utilize in order to enjoy the ecosystem. So
Mhm.
from the launching date, there will be already some of the synergy apps that will be available in our ecosystem. For example, like simple ones like Marketplace, Explorer,
Mhm.
Navigator, dress room, those kind of features, synergy apps will be available. But from going forward, there will be more synergy apps that will be available in the ecosystem. We are working on things like item enhancement apps,
Mhm.
or, you know, where people can, you know, bring their items and craft it and, you know, make it stronger and either use it in the game
Mhm.
or, you know, sell it at a higher price, whatever they want. Also, another thing, you know, another idea that we are developing is going, I mean, it's kind of confidential, but if I could give you a little bit of a hint,
A little bit of
it could
alpha.
be, yeah, yeah, it could be something like, time marketplace. We're still developing more detailed ideas.
Hmm.
It could be like time marketplace where people can, rent their characters,
Hmm.
and if anyone wants to, sell their time and complete certain quests instead of the original owner of the character, and get rewarded for doing so. And while doing so, it's also an idea, but the original character holder can watch how those time contributors will it is playing with their own character,
Hmm.
on the mobile, for example. So they still can keep an eye on what that character is doing.
I understand where we're going with this. We have seen a similar mechanic in other games early on, in Web3 gaming as well. And, I think that's a very important mechanic for people who just want to have fun and some people who want to just own an asset. But
Exactly.
so, Dominic, I need to ask, right? A lot of Web3 games struggle with initial user acquisition. Now, I don't imagine, again, I could be wrong, but I don't imagine a MapleStory N had to face those same challenges. But at the same time, could you give us some insight about how the initial community or initial players came about learning about MapleStory and how did you guys approach that from a marketing perspective?
Mm. So right now, we are in the gear up now period,
Hmm.
which is a pre-launching period for our game. So there are already, you know, hundreds of thousands of people already playing, grinding like crazy these days. And by going through various chats that different communities have regarding MapleStory, we are very basically monitoring a lot of community feedbacks in order to get the real evaluation from the community.
Hmm.
Um, we're seeing a lot of inflows from Web3 community, Web3 gaming community, but a lot of people who already know how to play MapleStory, and we're seeing lots of traffics from regions where MapleStory IP or MapleStory game is already popular, um, mostly in Asia as well as in North America. So um, I think it's a very good start
Hmm.
in order you know to catch the attention from the people who have played in the past, and what is also very familiar with your basic interactions with the blockchains. For example, it's not their first time to
Yep.
make their MetaMask, for example. Um, and it's also a very good mix because we are also seeing some of the people who have played MapleStory once,
Hmm.
but coming to MapleStory Universe because it's a new MapleStory and they have a chance to start over with other people, because in the past, because MapleStory has been running for over 21 years now, it's really hard to become a ranker if you start now, right? So some of the people who are newly starting the game are also seeing that kind of opportunity as well. So it's kind of exciting to see those, people who are coming back.
Hmm. Yep.
And yeah, and also we are seeing lots of traffics from Web3, I would say Web3 native users who aren't necessarily interested in playing the game itself, but doing their own things, expecting some rewards.
Yep.
So it's a very good, it's a very healthy mix, in my opinion,
Hmm.
the user traffic that we are seeing.
This is very interesting, and I can't wait to see the game completely launch and see what the results are then. But I also want to ask you guys. obviously we are operating in a Web3 environment, and you needed to pick a blockchain. And so I wanted to ask why Avalanche. Keep in mind, we are good friends with Avalanche here at PlayToEarn, but
Yeah.
for any other IP coming in or a new game that's building, I need to ask why Avalanche.
Okay, so Avalanche was chosen for its strong track records in the blockchain game development. We were looking for partners with extensive know-how in developing large-scale games on-chain, and they had the right references for us to partner with them. And Avalanche's customizable L1, previously subnet system. This system was definitely a draw factor as it allows us to design a network tailored for MapleStory Universe's unique necessities, ensuring fast, smooth, and cost-efficient transactions for thousands of concurrent players. This kind of scalability was very essential to support user-generated content such as Synergy X, where players and creators contribute to the ecosystem.
Interesting. So in terms of the team, right? Is it mostly a Web3 native team right now at MapleStory Universe, or are there a lot of, or is there a lot of knowledge sharing amongst, Web2 peers, and you've gotten a few teams from the original franchise into Web3? How is the team management playing into all of this?
So when it comes to team formation, it's also very interesting how Nexon is very to see how Nexon is very much committed. There are basically two major areas for us to be the best in the industry. First is things that Nexon's already best at. For example, like game development, live operations, how to deal with like different hacks and bots, and knowing what Maplers really enjoy and hate in the existing contents. So we have a team of developers and game designers who are already above professional in that, and we are also forming a team of industry top class who should bring knowledges, know-hows, experience that Nexon is going to be beefing up going forward. For example, Web3 or finance or like businesses or community building that is more native to Web3 environment. So we are both beefing up two areas, and especially when it comes to the latter, we are more aggressively hiring talents from all over the world.
Interesting. So would it be accurate to say it's a mix right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
We are seeing a lot of new joiners who are coming from another industry or Web3 industry, different firms or different setups with relevant know-hows, etc.
Interesting.
And even today, I have a meeting in the afternoon with a new joiner who joined from another firm. Yeah.
Nice. Obviously, as games expand, teams expand, and it's good to see that MapleStory is also on that journey within Web3. So, with all the struggles that happen in Web3, sometimes you see a few odd challenges. Do you recall any major challenges that you guys have faced, while operating in Web3, or something that comes out as, whoa, we did not expect this, and this is completely new to us? Has there been something like that?
So blockchain expands MapleStory Universe by enabling an interconnected and more immersive ecosystem where in-game assets are owned, tradable, and usable across platforms, right?
Yep.
It's something that a Web2 version couldn't offer due to the way it is set up, or for various regulatory reasons. And it opens up economies and expands player contribution by introducing true ownership, transparent transactions, and systems that rewards creativity and participation. And by integrating various new technologies, come up with new challenges. Obviously, there were fresh challenges that we needed to solve by integrating new technologies. User journey or user interface must be very much newly created. So in order to optimize that, I think the team has spent tremendous amount of time and efforts in order to make it easy, because we wanted them to enjoy our contents in a new way. We didn't want them to, understand from deep from the bottom, the technology itself. Is because it's not the core. We are integrating the technology in order to provide a platform where their new experience begins. It's not a new school, where people have to learn about distributed ledgers, or how wallets work, etc., etc. So that was one big challenge. And luckily, fortunately, as we disclose the current beta version, we're receiving lots of positive feedbacks and evaluations from the industry leaders, that our user experience is it is like it must be the standards for the Web3 gaming going forward. It was very smooth and straight to the point, and very intuitive. Those are the feedbacks that we are receiving.
Amazing.
And another thing that we are also challenging is around the regulations, because in a lot of jurisdictions, regulations are still still in the process of being finalized, and that the very fact that there is still no fixed regulations is also stopping us to go with the full axle. So regulatory clarity hopefully is going to be resolved in the coming years, and hopefully we don't have to spend more money on the law firms.
That's a big one, Dominic. Like, regulation for each game and how they define what type of asset class it is. Is it a security? Is it not a security? Those are the challenges even at PlayToEarn we face that a lot. And I keep talking to various games, right? And each one of them are approaching it in their own way. But so far, I see that the Southeast Asian countries seem to be more progressive in standardizing those type of regulations. But again, eventually we want to get to a place where the entire world has some sort of standard to manage this innovation. Yep. So, we're coming to the end of the interview, and I want to ask, what is in store for the near future at MapleStory, and what's on the roadmap?
Right. So, through the current test that is running, we have received a tremendous amount of feedbacks from the players who have grinded hours and hours with the game. So, there are lots of works to do in order to reflect those feedbacks, to the version that we're launching very soon. We are basically targeting the first half of 2025 for the official and mainnet launch. And probably after the mainnet launch, there will be gradual introductions of different synergy apps. I mean, additional synergy apps and features and um, uh, updates in our ecosystem going forward. So for us, 2025 is the year where we will be introducing. Sorry, there was a mosquito. So 2025 is going to be the year where we will be introducing lots of features that we've been preparing um, for over 3 years now. Yeah, finally.
Awesome. And to all the players, developers, and builders listening to this interview, what would you like to tell them? How can this get started or start being involved in the MapleStory universe? What actions do they need to take right now?
So for now, if this video is being disclosed before 23rd, you can still have a taste of the MapleStory end before it ends on 23rd. Go to msu.io. Go to msu.io. Give it a try. You can also freely leave us various feedbacks on the potential enhancement in our content. And for the developers and creators that are out there, feel free to engage with us through any means. We are basically inviting more partners, more contributors, and more participants into our ecosystem, for us to build the immersive ecosystem around the well-known, long-loved global IP of MapleStory.
Awesome. So there you have it, folks. 2025 is going to be a big year for MapleStory Universe and MapleStory N. We can't wait to see it. And for all of you listening, this is the last episode of this season, and we're going out with a bang. So drop into msu.io, correct, Dominic? That would be the website. Yeah, check it out, engage, explore, be involved, and hopefully there might be a reward somewhere on the roadmap, which I don't think Dominic has revealed yet, but get in there and interact. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you for enlightening us about MapleStory N and MapleStory Universe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.